Okay, so somebody posted this question to me, and I wanted to evaluate it. And what we're doing is we're taking the limit of this function as x approaches 0. What you normally would want to do is do direct substitution and plug in 0 here for x. But the problem is that if you plug in 0, then you would be dividing by 0. So the question is how do you evaluate this limit? So what I want to do is do some algebra here and try and figure out how we can go through and divide out this x so that we can do direct substitution. So let's give that a shot. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just start doing the math here. So I'm going to write the limit as x approaches 0 of the square root. And what I want to do here is I want to expand these out and multiply them. So x plus 3 squared, that quantity squared is going to give me x squared plus 6x plus 9 plus x plus 4 squared is going to give me x squared plus 8x plus 16. All of that under the same thing, and then minus 5, all divided by x. And what is that equal to? Okay. What I want to do now is combine all my like terms. Okay, so I'm going to combine, my next step would be the limit as x approaches 0 of the square root x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. 6x plus 8x is plus 14x. And then 9 plus 16 is 25. So plus 25. Okay, and so from here, once I've gotten this to something that's usable, I can't factor this quadratic. Okay, so that's a problem. So since I can't factor this quadratic, I can't really do any more manipulation. Okay, the only thing that I can do is multiply the top and bottom by the conjugate of my numerator. All right, and so let me show you what I'm doing there. Okay, and so from here, so my numerator is the square root of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25 minus 5, okay? The conjugate of that would be the square root of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25 plus 5. And when I multiply these two things together, what's going to end up happening is I get, when I multiply this out, this is difference of squares. And so I end up getting the limit as x approaches 0 of the quantity square root 2x squared plus 14x plus 25, all right, that quantity squared, minus 5 squared, okay, all over x times the square root of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25, all right, and then plus 5 down here, and that's equal to what? All right, so what I want to then do is manipulate this algebraically. And when I do this, this is going to get rid of my square root in my denominator, or I'm sorry, my numerator. So I get the limit as x approaches 0 of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25 minus 25 all over x times the quantity square root of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25 plus 5. All right, and so still, even at this point, if I plug in 0 for x, it's still going to make my denominator 0. So we have to figure out a way to manipulate the top here and divide that 0 out. So the limit as x approaches 0, my top, the 25s are going to cancel out to 0. So I've got 2x squared plus 14x over x times the quantity, the square root of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25, and then plus 5. All right, so now at this point, what I can do is I can factor out an x from my numerator, okay? You could factor out a 2x, but you don't really need to do that at this point. So let's just factor out an x. And this is going to allow us then to do direct substitution. So if I factor out an x, I'm going to be left with 2x plus 14, all right, over x times the quantity, square root 2x squared plus 14x plus 25, and then plus 5. All right, so what happens here is that my x's will divide out. So that was the whole point. That's what I wanted to get to with this problem, because now I can just plug in 0 for x, And it will allow us to then, evaluate this limit. So the limit as x approaches 0 of 2x plus 14 over the square root of 2x squared plus 14x plus 25, and then plus 5 on the bottom. Okay, now I can just do direct substitution and plug in 0 for x. So at this point, the limit as x approaches 0, I'm using red to show that I'm plugging in that value for x. So I've got 2 times 0 plus 14 over the square root 2 times 0 squared plus 14 times 0 plus 25 and then plus 5. And so at this point, all the terms that have 0 are just going to become 0. All right, so the limit now as x approaches 0 of this is going to be 14 over the square root of 25 plus 5. Okay, and we can just evaluate that. And that's going to give us 14 over 5 plus 5, which gives us 14 over 10, which can then be simplified to 7/5. Okay, and that's our answer on that. So yeah, this requires a lot of steps, but I want you to see, you got to manipulate this algebraically first to get to this point, see what you can do. Realize that the only way you're going to get rid of that square root is by using, the conjugate, okay? And so at that point, I think the step from here to here might be the one step that might screw you guys up. But remember that conjugates, just to reiterate, when I take, say a plus b times a minus b, those are conjugates. When I multiply that out and FOIL that out using the distributive property or the box method, whatever you want to do, I'm going to get a squared plus ab minus ab minus b squared. My two inside terms are going to cancel out, leaving me with a squared minus b squared. And that's how I got this here, okay? Everything else from there, I'm just evaluating here, then plugging in 0, and arriving at my answer at 7/5. So, hope you enjoyed this. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.